In this video, we are going to learn about why do we need dependencies array at all. And by that, I mean that if React, while writing React, we can see some warnings here. If some variable is used, then why React cannot use that automatically internally? That yeah, we know that that value can change. So whenever that thing will change, so I need to run effect again. So I'll do it internally rather than asking for dependencies array. So my point is something like this, that let's say you are printing text, then you can see that this warning it is giving, right? That text, it is missing, it has a missing dependency text and you should write it here. So that is the point. First of all, who is giving this warning? This warning is not given by React. In fact, there are tools called linting tools. So you can see that these linting tools give us this warning. So essentially linting tools also just see the syntax and see that what are the things you are missing as per the normal rules, and then they suggest you something. But my point is that yeah, so if linting tools can do that, then obviously React internally natively can also do that. That what are the things required, and automatically they should internally add, they should not ask from us. Okay, that something like this you should add here, and then it should be fine. Okay, but why is that needed? In fact, turns out there is a good reason for that. So even if React internally becomes that smart to add these things automatically, sometimes what can happen is that sometimes an effect can be dependent on a particular variable, even if that variable is not directly used here. So you might think that how can that be? So let me show you an example for that. So right now, just remove this thing. So right now, let's see this situation where there is a particular input element, and that an input element, whenever you write anything in that, then that particular input element changes some text, which is essentially again given in the input element itself. But apart from that, let's say that text is used somewhere else also. Let's say in this div element, which means that yeah, so initially nothing is there, that's why that div is also not visible, because essentially the text is empty string only. But as soon as you start writing something, okay, then you can see that whatever I'm writing here, my text is changing, and that's why my this thing is also changing. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, that this text is changing, and that's why whatever is written in this side, in this div also changing. So firstly, let me give some example. So what can happen is that firstly let's add some ID so that we can clearly see, and let's name that div text div or something like that. Just I'm putting an ID, and now I can yeah, you should add CSS modules corresponding to this module, but just I'm going to do it in a normal way, where in some global style I'll add some style corresponding to this text div. So let's add it here, text div. And what I'm going to do is that I'll add a particular border for it. So let's say border 1 pixel solid, and let's say purple. Okay, and then you can understand that as soon as you start writing, then whatever is written, that is there. But apart from that, I also want that its width should not be whole width, rather whatever the text width is there, it should be only that much, it should contain that. So I can write width fit content, and then it will, the width will be fitting whatever the content of the that text is there. Okay, so now you can see that whatever you're writing, only that much width is there. What if I want to dynamically write that what is the width of this div? I want to dynamically print that also. So which means that I want something like this. Let's say there is a div that I write width, and then there is some width variable which is dynamically calculated, and I can create a variable, state variable, let's say width, and set width, and then I can use an initial width of 0. That is fine, it has to be calculated again, but uh, when to calculate it and how to calculate it. So let's also use let's say some reference. So my ref, let's say, is equal to use ref. Initially it is null, but I'm trying to use that ref here. So now what is happening is that whatever is the native DOM reference of this particular element, that is being accessed by here. Okay, now inside use effect, what I can do is that I can do something like this, that this my ref, how can I get the width of it. Okay, so there is a DOM API for that, and now I can access DOM APIs because I have a DOM reference to this particular element, right? So my ref dot current dot, there's a particular DOM API called get client bound rect. In fact, you can print this if you want, and you can see what is there inside it. So there is a reason, but I'll just I'm just printing it in set timeout just for a reason. I'll tell you later. So you can see that what it gives is that it gives you, so again you should give some time. So let's say after 1 second. Okay, so I believe that just 1 second, it should be a function rather than simple this thing, and essentially I'm printing this. So let's make it cleaner in this manner. Okay, yeah, so you can see that it is there. Just you should see the what is the API, what this whole output is giving. When you get something like this, get bounding client rect, I think we have used in some of the earlier videos also. On whatever element you call this API, it gives you some information about that. Yeah, so where it is, what is its width, height, or something. So let's say I want to actually calculate the I want to not calculate whatever is the width. I want to see that width, that what is the actual width right now. So that is given in this thing called width. Okay, so why I am doing it in set timeout, because you can see that initially it will be width will be very less, right? In fact it should be 0, but it is 2 because the border is 1 pixel, right? So you can understand that left side 1 pixel and right side 1 pixel. So, and you can see slightly just here something is written. So 1 pixel left and 1 pixel right width is there, but actual content is 0, so that's why the width was 0. But you can see that what I want, that whenever I want to change, I should get the latest width, right? So for that you can understand that I can, first of all, let's see that. So essentially I can simply do dot width, because I will now get this width value, and then I can use this value. This will give me a number. Fine, this number, whatever is there, that number I will get. But now I want to set that. So I already have a width state variable. I'll simply use set width, and the actual value of width is definitely being used here, isn't it? So what is going to happen is that this line will get the width of my this div, and it will set in the variable this width, because I am using set width with that value, and that width can be printed here. But now you see the problem, that initially width 2 is there, that is fine, because just 2 pixels of border is there. But as soon as I write, then also this width is not changing. And why is that? That is because uh, every time this whole component is rendering, this effect is not running. And why is this effect not running? Because as soon as your text is changing, this effect should also run, because otherwise this set width will not run. Okay, and that's where you have to add text as a dependency here. And when you do that, then you can see that as soon as you keep on writing, then you get the actual width. But the point to note here is that text is not used in this effect at all. Text is still a dependency of this effect. So this is the example where I wanted to show you that doesn't matter how smart the JavaScript parser or React becomes, this sort of indirect dependency where you are knowing that yeah, what I'm doing here, what it will depend actually on, and when this effect needs to run again. Sometimes that dependency might not be direct, sometimes that dependency might be indirect, like in this example. So you see that whenever my text changes, then my width has to be calculated again, and this is not directly dependent on some particular this variable. Rather, it is indirectly dependent, because this text changes the width, and that width can be calculated using this ref. This is indirect dependency, not direct dependency, right? So so it will be a very hard task for compilers, for JavaScript parsers to figure it out automatically, right? So this is an example which I wanted to give you in this video. That why this dependency array is important, and it is not possible, not even in the future, to always do this automatically. So this is how it is there, and you should pay attention to it, specifically if you have a indirect dependency of any sort. Okay, so that will be all for this one. Thank you.